The rain cannot keep us down. We are under the tent here at Emmons Plaza. Centennial Celebration, Ball State University. 6:30 to 7:15, as you see on your screen right there. We have red carpet arrivals before the documentary premiere, and then the party starts at 9 on Riverside. Music, trucks, fireworks, we've got it all. And we are here with former President Joanne Gora of the university with Alex Thomas. I'm Jack Kaiser. Thanks for joining us, former President Gora, 14th president of Ball State University. What are you most looking forward to about all the events tonight?
Well, I'm really interested in seeing the video. I was invited back to participate in the making of the video, and I know it was an enormous undertaking for the students to really try to put together something that would be meaningful for this occasion. And I'm sure that they were up for the task, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the product. And of course, it's great to come back and see so many old friends.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you were so integral in creating a lot of this campus while you were here.
Yes.
As you come back through campus and drive through, what's it like seeing some of those buildings you were so important in funding?
Well, you know, in the 10 years that I was president, we gained the funding for more than 29 buildings. And I say more than because when I left, we had funding, but the buildings hadn't gone up yet for some things like the new golf center and some of the new athletic facilities. So it's exciting to see the campus thriving, and I'm really excited about a new building that I had nothing to do with, and that is the new academic building for the health science professions. That's an exciting movement forward for the university. So congratulations to President Mearns and to the folks who were responsible for gaining the funding for that important new addition.
So many great things happened in your tenure, but what was your favorite aspect about leading this university for 10 years?
You know, it was always so much fun to meet with students and faculty because the students were always so committed and so interested in what they were doing and excited and enthusiastic about their classes. And the faculty here really are committed to the students and really care about undergraduate education. So it was just a wonderful time to be here because people were excited about immersive learning, people were excited about community-based projects. Of course, the telecommunications program really took off during that time with the sports program and the initiative in the areas of sports, where students really were broadcast nationally and got a chance to showcase themselves nationally. So it's giving students that platform that I think was so exciting for us to really showcase our students and what they had been able to accomplish with their faculty mentors.
And you talked about the telecommunications program and how
Yes.
that really grew. In your time here as the Letterman building went up,
Yes.
maybe throughout that experience, I mean, how surreal is it to see that thing standing now and so successful?
Well, you know, bringing David Letterman back to campus was just thrilling. When he first came back, he had not been back to the university for 38 years. And then he came back 4 out of the next 5 years. The last year he brought Oprah Winfrey with him. You know, when you're on stage with David Letterman and Oprah Winfrey, you think, okay, it's not going to get any better than this. Time to leave, you know. I've done what I can do here, but it was exciting. And Dave's commitment to the university was extraordinary, is extraordinary, and was tremendous fun in developing. And he did a lot for us and continues to care about the university.
David Letterman, part of the 100 years here at the university. But what impact would you say overall has this university had on the state of Indiana?
Well, you know, I think Ball State is a critical part of the economic prosperity of this state because we, more than many of the research universities, produce graduates that really drive this economy. Our students come from Indiana and they stay in Indiana by and large. You know, some of the larger research universities, almost 50% of their students are either international or from out of state. And that's not been true for Ball State, where 80% of our students come from Indiana. So I think of us as a university that creates the workforce for Indiana and really the intellectual capital for the state. We have a strong entrepreneurial bent. We have a strong interest in creating entrepreneurial students, and I think that's a tremendous advantage for Indiana.
The last question I have to ask you, your name's on the rec center here.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? Every time we go to the rec center, we see your name. What does that really mean to you?
Well, it was a wonderful way for the Board of Trustees to honor me when I left. And it's somewhat traditional. John Worthen's name is on the arena. It's somewhat traditional if the board feels that you've done a good job, that they look for a building to put your name on. The Recreation and Wellness Center was one of my pet projects. The idea for it and the design for it started my first semester on campus, believe it or not. It came from students. We spent many years designing it, developing the funding for it, and then building it. Of course, it opened before I left, and I got a chance to play basketball in it with my husband, which is not something I'd like to repeat. He'd like to repeat, but the freshmen who played basketball with us, you'd have to ask them whether they'd like to repeat it. But at any rate, it's a wonderful place. Somebody told me it's called the Jogo Center, and I think that would be great if that's true. But yeah, it makes me very proud to see that building and to see it so well used and so well maintained. And the campus looks fabulous. So.
14th President of Ball State University, Joanne Gora. Thank you so much for joining
pleasure.
us.
My pleasure.
We have
Always
more presidents, former presidents, and special guests throughout the night. But for right now, let's send it to a snippet of what we will see in the documentary this evening.
A team of Muncie business leaders, including James Boyce and George McCulloch, offered the Ball brothers free natural gas for 5 years, 3 acres of land, and $5,000 on condition that they establish a factory in Muncie and employ 125 people.
The deal to get them here included free land. It was approximately 7 acres on the southeast side of Muncie. It included access to free natural gas. It included cash. And it included a railroad spur so that it was easy for them to ship their product out. It was a sweet deal. They did well.
The 5 Ball brothers, Lucius, William, Edmund, Frank, and George, all eventually moved to Muncie with their families. In time, their manufacturing operations employed thousands of residents and produced millions of fruit jars, becoming a leader in national glass manufacturing.
Ball brothers had built a successful business in their glass manufacturing company, and they wanted to have Muncie be a really great place for manufacturing, for other types of jobs, and also for education.
The Ball brothers matched their economic influence in Muncie with civic, cultural, and nonprofit contributions in a philosophy of beneficence, a family credo that eventually led to the creation of Ball State University. The Ball brothers and their families sought to improve the quality of life in Muncie, Delaware County, and East Central Indiana with charitable contributions. This philanthropic dedication continues to this day.
Their philosophy of philanthropy was dive in, make things better.
As Muncie grew, civic leaders, including members of the Ball family, saw a need to establish an institution of higher education in Muncie, in part to foster growth and innovation in teaching, and also to improve development in Muncie's West Side neighborhoods.
The drive for higher education in Muncie is initially an entrepreneurial business idea. So they want to create this college, which is going to be an incentive for people to come out and build homes and build neighborhoods.
All right, guys, welcome back down here to the red carpet. I'm Olivia Jansen, here with first-year grad student and student producer Ashley Mullen. Ashley, can you tell me a little bit about your position in producing this documentary?
Yeah, so I was an assistant producer on the short 5 promos that we filmed, which will be shown before the long documentary. Basically what my role was is I helped contact all the different people that we interviewed, all the extras that are seen in like the different shots, all that talent as basically the people that I got. I helped coordinate locations, when we would shoot things, and a lot of more logistical type of stuff. Yeah.
So how much preparation went into that for the documentary?
Quite a lot more than I think anyone anticipated. We all thought that everything was going to be shot within like a couple weeks, but it was very rigorous in the amount of shooting that we had to do, and a lot of scrambling kind of at the last minute just to try to find people, because we needed so many people for even just like the small shots in the documentary. Yeah.
So what was your favorite part working with the documentary and with the other students and everyone on the staff?
Just meeting a lot of really great people, and I've formed a lot of lifelong friendships and relationships. Yeah, just meeting all the different people and kind of going beyond just the relationships and kind of furthering my career in telecommunications. Yeah.
Awesome. And one more question for you. Are you excited for tonight?
I'm very excited for tonight. This has been over a year in the making, so I'm so excited to finally see it, executed. So.
Well, we're all excited to see it too. Thank you, Ashley. And now we're going to head into a commercial break. Thank you.
Over 100 years ago, at the height of the Indiana gas boom, a spark of beneficence from 5 brothers caused an explosion that transformed a prominent teachers' college into a university that today expands over 700 acres with 22,000 students studying in 190 majors. Today, Ball State University follows a tradition of student-centered education, community engagement, immersive experiences, student involvement, a fostering environment of self-exploration, and an enduring spirit focused on a legacy of academic excellence. Ball State University, teaching entrepreneurial learners, molding impactful leaders. Ball State University.
We want to run the ball, we make no secret about that.
Nobody cares about what you did in high school. You have to show up and put your helmet on and tie your cleats up.
We got high expectations and goals that we want to do, and we don't put the team on our back.
Down the sideline, Malik Turner all the way for 6. Caleb Huntley still running, hurdles the defender, and goes into the end zone.
Just love being on the field. It's my favorite thing to do in life.
Inspiring athletes, creative storytellers, Emmy Award winners. The best stories in Ball State sports, only from SportsLink.
Hashtag Ball State 100, the Centennial celebration here in Muncie. Hard to believe it's been 100 years here at Ball State. We have another special guest with us, Judd Fisher of the Ball Brothers Foundation. With Alex Thomas, I'm Jack Kaiser. Thanks for joining us once again. What excites you most about this celebration going on tonight?
I think it's just 100 years is a testament to how well this university has done through the last century and been able to be a place for student success, a place for careers, a destination for careers for professors, faculty, and administration. And it's just been, I think, a wonderful symbiotic relationship with the city of Muncie that just continues to grow and grow as the city of Muncie transitions from a major manufacturing center to a place that is what I think can be started to be considered a real college town, with Ball State being one of the largest employers, but also the amount of students that go through here every year that are put out into this world that have a great education and have a chance to contribute to this area, the state, and the beyond. So that's really exciting to me to see all that happening and be able to work with the university through a lot of those types of things.
As someone who's been around this university now for almost over 2 decades, in what ways has Ball State changed?
Sure. There's the obvious things, the physical changes from the McKinley, just the corridor there that was developed into such a wonderful place that is more student-friendly, pedestrian-friendly, but it's also great looking. The bell tower, I think those are just one of, or a couple of very simple things, but that's really been great. A lot of the new buildings that have gone up and been modernized and things like that have been really wonderful for bringing people here, the students and all the professors and everything that have come here over the last 2 decades have just had wonderful things to say about the university, the ones I talked to. And so that's been a neat thing to be able to watch.
100 years, that's quite remarkable. How important is the history of Ball State to where it's at right now?
I think you look at it, and Ball State, kind of came out of the failed schools that were here. They were tried before, a couple of them, and And you had a town that was building up in around 1918 that was manufacturing heavy, and that was looking for something to enhance the community. So the higher ed aspect was really important, and it really cemented kind of this place to this learning environment that, you know, we might not have had if it hadn't been established in 1918. So it's such an incredible thing for the community, the education side of things here in this community, and obviously this is an economic engine. There's a lot of people that work here, so not only are the students being educated and kind of getting a launch into the next aspect of their lives, but this university affects a lot of people in this community from the economic side too. So there's a great relationship there, and I think it's just been wonderful over the years, and it's just getting better.
And with 100 years down, 100 years and beyond to go, what excites you most about the future of this university?
Sure, I think you start seeing as the different regions around our state, around the Midwest, around the country start to coalesce into what is the future going to be. We're still a major manufacturing hub here. I don't know if enough people know that we put out more manufacturing product here in East Central Indiana than we ever have. But we have the least amount of people working there because of innovation, technology, things like that. And so what are we looking at into the future? I think the future is here, especially in Muncie, is education. Our job is to educate people for this region and beyond. You know, we have the School of Medicine here, the IU School of Medicine that Ball State works very closely with. That's so important. Healthcare is a huge thing. So I think those types of things are going to be very prevalent in our future when you look at the education and medical education side of things and really working together. You have the new building across the street here, the Health Sciences building, and I think there's just going to be some great partnerships that come out of that with the state and the Midwest with other organizations, and really work towards having some great healthcare workers come out of that from all different levels. So it's really neat.
Ball State, certainly a bright future. Thank you for joining us. Judd Fisher of the Ball State Brothers Foundation. Let's toss it down to Olivia with a guest now on the red carpet.
All right, guys, I'm here with former President Terry King. So can you tell me a little bit about your time at Ball State as the 16th interim president?
Well, it all started when President Gora hired me to be the provost and vice president for academic affairs. And I was in that role for about 9.5 years before I went into the interim president's role. I have to say that whole time was a phenomenal time to be at the university. So many positive changes, so much energy at the university, and it's still going on today.
Yeah, so I understand that you were involved in the creation of the College of Health. Can you tell me a little bit about your role with that, and then just really your role with that, and then what your vision was for it at the time?
It all started when we embarked on a long-range academic planning exercise to try to envision what the university should be like in 30 years. What we did was look backwards in time over the history of the university and saw that certain pivotal things happened. For example, the creation of colleges, College of Fine Arts, the College of Architecture and Planning, the College of Communication, Information and Media. Those changes allowed the university to really grow in those areas. As part of that planning process, we saw that we had a tremendous collection of health-related professions at the university, and the idea was if we put them together and co-locate them in certain ways, that whole area would grow phenomenally. I hope that 30 years from now, people will say that was a really good decision to make. I'm very hopeful that will happen, but I think it'll get very strong.
So what are you most excited to see from that college in the future?
I want to see it grow more professionally. I think there's a number of programs there that are well known around the world. I'd like to see all those programs well known around the world. I think they'll get there.
So are you excited to be here for the documentary tonight, and what are you most excited to see from documentary?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I remember when they started planning the documentary actually about 1.5 years ago, and it was unknown what was going to happen at that time. I think I'm really excited to see how the university has grown over the first 100 years, but also get a glimpse, if you could extrapolate into the future, what it could be like in the next 30 to 100 years.
All right, we're going to hand it back to Jack and Alex with a special guest.
Thank you, Olivia. We are now here with the First Lady of Indiana, Janet Holcomb, Alex Thomas, Jack Kaiser. What's it been like for you so far, the experience of being the First Lady over the last couple of years?
It's been a whirlwind. It's, you know, every day is a new adventure. and we've learned to embrace change, because that has been the one constant in this, is change.
And you grew up here. What is your earliest memory of Ball State in the Muncie area?
My earliest memory of Ball State, probably attending a homecoming parade as a child. Yeah. So yes, I grew up in the Muncie community and attended Burris Laboratory School before completing 2 degrees at Ball State.
Wow.
With you being a Muncie native, how would you describe your connection with this university?
I love staying connected to the university. Forged some really endearing friendships here in the university. Students and faculty that have been mentors and friends throughout my life.
And from growing up here, how has this university changed from just what you can see since you were growing up here?
Well, the physical changes are astounding, but I think the university has grown tremendously too, and has really responded to the needs and challenges of the 21st century.
What has Ball State meant to the state of Indiana over the last 100 years?
I think Ball State has contributed tremendously to the state, in this area of the state in particular. Muncie community and East Central Indiana is just really grounded by the university. So it's such an important key component of this area, and continues to turn out business and community leaders, wonderful teachers, architects, artists, across the board. Just many great programs here at Ball State.
That's fantastic. And what are you looking forward to most about tonight's event?
Just celebrating and seeing some friends and family, and ran into President Mearns already, so it was fun to say hi to him. So it's great to be here, and I look forward to sharing this special occasion.
I'm sure you've been here quite a few times, not your first time here at Ball State. Unfortunately, the rain has sort of dampened the campus a little bit, but it's a beautiful campus we have here. All the students have their favorite spot. What's yours?
Well, I spent a lot of time in the art building. I have 2 degrees in fine arts, and so the art building has migrated since I was in college. But the art museum and the art buildings are always a favorite. So.
All right, First Lady of Indiana, Janet Holcomb. We'll take a quick break. More special guests, more activities here at the Centennial celebration of Ball State coming up next.
The Ball family believed in beneficence, the ethical principle of placing the welfare of humankind above the self. Every day, I see their ceaseless financial support of Ball State University that has fostered a culture of philanthropy that has lasted for an entire century. Today, alumni, the Indiana General Assembly, and private donors join to support Ball State's community that cultivates a student-centered mission, character development, and academic excellence. This year, my university family comes together in celebration of 100 years of academic exploration, immersive learning, life-changing enrichment, and unbreakable bonds. The Centennial allows me to pause and reflect on the values of the people who helped achieve betterment in my university, my community, and in myself, while planning to ensure their students' success in the 21st century.
We want to run the ball, we make no secret about that.
Nobody cares about what you did in high school. You have to show up and put your helmet on and tie your cleats up.
We got high expectations and goals that we want to do, and we don't put the team on our back.
Down the sideline, Malik Tunner all the way for 6. Caleb Huntley still running, hurdles the defender, and goes into the end zone.
Just love being on the field. It's my favorite thing to do in life.
Inspiring athletes, creative storytellers, Emmy Award winners, The best stories in Ball State sports, only from SportsLink.
The rain continues to pour, but we're still rolling as we look at the history of Ball State. 100 years, opened in 1899 as a private school before going public in 1918. Ball Teachers College 1922 before the current Ball State University in 1965. Hard to believe it's been 100 years, Alex. A lot of history shown right there.
A lot of history. My family went here. My mom, almost all of her entire side went to Ball State. It's a big part of the Teachers College. I know it's similar for you as well.
Yeah, both my parents went here as well. Lots of Indiana natives come here to Ball State. That's what makes it special. Also a national university gaining national recognition. And while we have the time, let's send it down to Olivia Jansen with another one of our documentary student producers.
All right, guys, I'm here with student producer John Osterhout. He came from Virginia. Can you tell me a little bit about how excited you are to be here and about your trip to Muncie, Indiana today?
I'm really excited to be here because this whole project is over a year in the making. We started pre-production last June, I think, so it's been a long time coming, and I think that the gravity and the historical significance of this project is probably just going to start setting in for our team, because I think this project will have a long, long life and will be used continuously probably for the next 100 years until Ball State's bicentennial. So I'm really excited to see all of the work that the whole team has done and to let all of them be congratulated and for everybody to see what we've been doing for the past year. My drive was fine here, except my car is now in the shop and an engine problem. So that's how much I wanted to be here. That my engine was making a weird noise, but I just kept going. So.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you here, and we're excited to see the documentary. Can you tell me just a little bit about your role in the documentary?
Yeah, sure. I directed the long-form documentary. So the documentary that we're going to see tonight, it's one of 3 parts of the documentary series. There's an hour-long, the full history. It's like the most objective version of Ball State's past. And then there was a 10-minute version that focused a little bit on the past, but then kind of went into highlighting what we do now. And then there was a third section that had 5 what we were calling PSAs, that are 30-second long videos highlighting different aspects of just what's happening on campus right now that altogether kind of encapsulate the spirit of what Ball State was, is, and will be in the future. So, yeah.
Well, I have a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
So, what was your process when coming up with all of your, just everything that you needed to get together for the documentary? Where did you start?
Where I started was with going through the history with Chris Fluke, because Chris Fluke is kind of a historian in his own right. So he did a lot of the research, and then he and I kind of got together to compile all of that into a narrative story to kind of go from point A to point B. And what I really wanted to focus on was how the educational traditions that were established at the university's founding have carried through today, and how they've actually impacted what we're doing actually like right now. So like being student-centered was part of the university from the very outset, and that's led to you and I talking right now, a recent graduate, and you're still a student, right? So that's all really cool. And you know, the people operating the cameras, all students, and the lighting, students. And that actually has a really long history that came into being now. And so I think that most students don't really realize that Ball State has always been trying to do this type of thing, and now SportsLink has Emmy Awards, you know, so that started 100 years ago. And so tracking the progress of how these ideas kind of formed and changed and progressed to where we are now is actually, the history of Ball State is more profound and interesting than I think a lot of people might expect.
Certainly. So we'll let you get inside so you can enjoy the documentary, and now we're going to send it back over to the set with Alex and Jack.
Thank you, Olivia. We've talked to a couple of former presidents tonight, but how about the current president of Ball State University, Jeffrey Mearns? And it's been 100 years for Ball State, just over a year for you as president. How's the ride been so far?
It's been great. Jennifer and I are so fortunate to be a part of the Ball State community and the greater Muncie, Delaware County. We're very happy to be here.
And with a full year of celebration for the Centennial, this is kind of the trademark event for the year. So how excited are you for tonight's event?
We're very excited. You know, the documentary history that we're going to show tonight is the work of more than 30 of our outstanding students I've had a chance to preview the documentary. It's outstanding. It really captures not just the history of our university, but it really captures the passion and pride that we all have for Ball State.
And we're seeing changes all over campus right now. In your opinion, how will these changes affect or elevate Ball State University in the future?
Yeah, so we have more than $300 million of construction projects either underway or actually in the development and design pipeline. So we have academic buildings, 2 new academic buildings that are going to be built on our East Quad. One's underway, one will be underway next summer. We got 2 new residence halls in the pipeline, a new dining hall. And one of the things that makes me most excited is the new East Mall, the pedestrian and bike path that we're going to build all the way from the campus recreation center in the north through the center of campus, all the way down to the village. We're going to build a new parking garage over on New York Avenue, which will allow us to tear down the Emmons garage. And once we do, we're going to open that space up to a beautiful green lawn. So we're going to make the campus even more attractive, more walkable, more opportunities for students to engage outside as they're enjoying our beautiful campus.
And a lot of changes, like you just mentioned. How do you think those changes will elevate the university as a whole?
Well, it will enable us to continue to attract outstanding faculty, staff, and students. You know, facilities are important, programs are important, celebrations are important. The most important thing that we all can do, probably my most important job, is to continue to attract outstanding people. The quality of the people is what drives the quality of the institution.
We've asked a couple of guests this tonight. We've talked about all these new areas of campus, but of the current areas on campus, what's your favorite one? What's your go-to area that you like to just walk around or visit?
Well, I walk through the campus several mornings a week, sometimes by myself, oftentimes with my dog. The quad, where the original buildings were built, is to me a place that reminds me of the legacy of the university. And I was on the phone recently with somebody as I was talking about the history of the university, and I mentioned to him that all I had to do was look out my window, and 100 yards to the west is Beneficence. And so I often look to her for inspiration. She's been a guide for us in terms of the values she represents. She's been a guide for us through our proud past, and she'll be a guide to us in our future.
You talked about beneficence and that whole, and the new mantra of "We Fly."
Right.
Is that the entire root behind that idea was beneficence, and that way you were just describing?
So it obviously the We Fly is both a tie to Beneficence and her wings, but also we're the Cardinals. So that tagline was consistent with the 2 symbols of the university, but it really expresses the aspiration and trajectory of the institution. We are on the rise. Our transformative educational experience propels students to do outstanding things when they graduate. So it's just a good image for us.
And we know you like your sports, President Mearns.
I do.
A big game coming up for Ball State football this Saturday. Are you excited?
I am. You know, it's been on my bucket list to see a football game at Notre Dame. Never done it in my life. I grew up watching Notre Dame football. I never thought I'd be there as the president of a university that was playing Notre Dame. So this is a dream come true. The only thing we need to do is do some blocking and some tackling, and good things will happen on Saturday. I'm excited.
We'll see if the Cardinals can get it done. Ball State President Jeffrey Mearns right here on the set. But for now, we'll toss it to a tease, another one of tonight's documentary.
I feel like a lot of people don't know how many great things that Ball State offers, and being a Ball State student to me has meant taking advantage of those opportunities and really shaping my own future.
Ball State provides its students with a wonderful opportunity to grow.
Ball State has shaped me to be a person that can be a leader. I'm able to work as a team player with other people around me in my major.
I think Ball State has shaped me in just pushing me out of my comfort zone completely. I'm more confident in my work, and I'm actually proud of the work that I'm doing.
Going to college is the first big, important step in any young man, young woman's life, because it's the first genuine step toward independence. And that's exactly what it was for me. And Ball State provided everything that I needed for that.
2018 marks the 100-year anniversary of Ball State University. From a humble beginning in a single building, Ball State expanded to 731 acres and 109 buildings. Each year, over 22,000 students study in 190 majors and 130 minors.
You see our schedule once again, red carpet arrivals continuing, just about to wrap that up. and the documentary premiere coming up at 7:30. I think everyone's pretty excited, Alex.
Oh, definitely. And then the big party afterwards, 9 o'clock, street party on Riverside, some live music, food trucks, fireworks. We won't let the rain dampen the mood. It's going to be a great time out here at Emmons Auditorium.
I have a good feeling the rain's going to stop. We'll see, though. Should be a lot of fun. Let's send it down to Olivia on the red carpet once again.
Okay, guys, I'm standing here with Amy Fry, a student producer on the documentary. Amy, can you tell me a little bit about your role in producing it?
I actually was a director of photography, so I shot half of it. Yeah, there was 3 of us sharing the workload, so I shot a few of the interviews and a good amount of the B-roll that you'll see tonight. So yeah, spent a lot of hours on set.
So a lot of hours. How much planning went into that?
A lot. Every week, my team would meet 2 or 3 times to plan the next week, and then we'd spend 2 or 3 days on set. So it was like having a part-time job, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So how many people did you work with on a regular basis? I know you said you were one of the 3 or so photographers. How many more people did you work with just on a daily basis working on the documentary?
Well, the total team was 40 people, but my small team that worked together the most often was about, I think it was like 6 of us, and then we spent a lot of time together planning like our part of what we were supposed to shoot.
So this will be your 5th year at Ball State. What does the Centennial mean to you, and how much does Ball State mean to you?
Well, Ball State has given me all the opportunities in the world. Like, I've learned so much from my time here, mostly because of the immersive learning program. The really hands-on experience, like the Centennial. Since this was a class, I got credit for it, but I learned so much more than like what someone taking the normal credit for that class would be.
And then anyone looking into Ball State, what advice would you have for them after you spent 4 years here?
My only advice is really to get involved. You can't just sit in your dorm room. You have to like really find your niche, find your people, and start, like if you're in a creative field, start making things. Just make sure you really put your effort into it. It's all about what you put into it.
Well, we're excited to see the documentary and let you get inside. Thank you for the time. Now we're going to send it to a commercial.
2018 embodies a landmark for students, for faculty, for the community, and for Ball State as a university. A school which began in a single building and expanded to over 100 has fostered an environment of education that has grown to 22,000 students studying in over 190 programs. For 100 years, Ball State University has placed students at the center of every decision. Together, our students and faculty have remained committed to academic excellence, community engagement, outreach and service, research, the arts, and the overall success of Muncie, Indiana, and beyond. The Centennial provides us an opportunity to celebrate the past century while looking forward to the next 100 years for another century of excellence.
We want to run the ball, make no secret about that.
Nobody cares about what you did in high school. You have to show up and put your helmet on and tie your cleats up.
We got high expectations and goals that we want to do, and we're going to put the team on our back.
Down the sideline, Malik Tunner all the way for 6. Caleb Huntley still running, hurdles the defender, and goes into the end zone.
Just love being on the field. It's my favorite thing to do in life.
Inspiring athletes, creative storytellers, Emmy Award winners. The best stories in Ball State sports, only from SportsLink.
Ball State Centennial, we cannot show you this schedule enough. We want to remind you of what's going on here tonight. About 20 minutes away from 7:30 in the documentary premiere, an hour-long documentary highlighting Ball State University's history And as we said, the party gets started at 9. Riverside, live music, food trucks, and fireworks. We have got it all, and let's send it to Olivia with one more student producer.
Okay, guys, I'm here with Zoe Taylor. She was a director for the documentary. Zoe, can you tell me a little bit about your role?
Yes, so I directed the promotional videos along with the B-roll footage that you'll be seeing in the documentary itself. I partnered with the Bayonet Cinema, which is in Indianapolis. Basically, my goal was to find as many students and diverse students as possible, film them not only for our documentary, but for history as we go forward. That was something that was really in my heart, was to make sure that students who move forward are able to look back in the footage and see what was going on, really what Ball State is today and how we progress in the future.
So you had to look for your students that you interviewed for the documentary. What was your process when you located these students, and how did you decide who you were going to pick?
It was difficult. That was a lot of me sitting with my producers and trying to figure out the diversity that we needed to kind of show in our documentary, from academics to sports, to different people of color, to make sure that everybody who is here at Ball State University has their voice shown, to make sure everybody is exhibited, to really exhibit the things that people might not realize that we do, like our anthropology department, our gymnastics team, we have a rugby team that I showed. So it was really going around and working with my personal experience from student government and the connections I had made there to see the students who had voiced their concerns and really wanted to be heard were actually seen and depicted in this.
So how big of a role did diversity play in this documentary?
Every decision. Every decision I looked to make sure that we had females on the screen, to make sure that we had professors, different age variations, veterans, people with disabilities. That was things that I would stay up at night to make sure that I had that. I didn't want this documentary to only show what people thought Ball State was. I wanted to show what Ball State actually is.
So since diversity played such a major role, is that what you're hoping that people will take away from the documentary the most, or what is your main key component that you want everyone to take away from it?
I think diversity is already at Ball State University. I think the component I really wanted people to see was not the fact of what might be on a college brochure, but what actually is at the heart and core of Ball State University, which just happens to be a variation and beautiful diversity of what we are. So really, it was very easy for me to do it because it was already there. So when I say stressed out about it, it was more like just making sure that people were coming when I needed them to.
So now that this is Ball State's 100th year and you've worked with the documentary, how does that change how you feel about Ball State? Do you feel more strongly and more proud of your university, or what are your feelings going into the Centennial tonight?
After working with all of our amazing students, I probably talk too much about Ball State now to everybody that I work with. There's no other university that does what we do, where students can come and have a conversation with other students that work with thousands of dollars of equipment to put on something that we celebrate at the start of our 100-year anniversary. Something like that at a different university would have been done by professionals outside of the university. It's just the trust that Ball State gives into people that is the largest thing that I can offer people, that when you are trusted as a student, you excel as a person.
All right, well, we'll let you get inside and enjoy tonight's festivities. I'm going to head inside as well upstairs with Mick Tidrow, and now we're going to send it back to a piece of content created for tonight's event.
During the same era, Ball State students became increasingly concerned about social issues in the Vietnam War.
If you flunked out, you were going to Vietnam. And I can remember when I graduated, I lost my student deferment and went down for my pre-induction physical. And it's one of those odd circumstances because millions before you have fulfilled their military obligation, but as you're going through that physical, you're saying to yourself, geez, I hope they find a lump. But they don't find a lump, and so you're reclassified. You lose your student deferment, and I went home and they just said, all right, we'll call you when it's time to go. And what intervened in my near future, and I think made a difference in my life, because we know going there for millions and millions of men and women made a huge difference in their life, not for the better. The intervention of the lottery system. And I sat there on the couch the night they drew the birth dates to see who was going to be drafted before they ended the draft, and mine was 352nd out of 356. So I was very, very lucky in that sense, because I would not have, if I knew kids in my fraternity who went and didn't come back. I knew everybody has stories like that. They're, for Christ's sake, go to Washington and look at the Vietnam War wall. So I wouldn't have been the same if I came back. So I was very, very lucky there.
Look at those stats for this documentary. You just saw David Letterman. So much work went into this documentary premiering tonight. 41 students, 50 interviews, 100 hours of footage, and over 1,000 historical photos. And this took a while, 7 months. We do a lot of similar work at SportsLink, but on a much smaller scale.
Yeah, only 3-4 minutes. The big ones are around 10 minutes. But to do an hour of this and really tell a full story of over 100 years of information, I mean, it really is. It's impressive, and it's very cool that I think that we are at a university where the students get to be involved in that so much and spend that time and learn kind of on that fly, that immersive learning that actually President Gore was talking about when we were talking with her.
Students get a lot of great experience here. We've gotten a lot of great experience on SportsLink Digital Radio. It's the new direct-to-consumer radio. You can stream it online, mixler.com/BSU SportsLink. We go to all the sporting events here at Ball State, and we'll be at Notre Dame this Saturday.
Yeah, it's an exciting one coming up on Saturday. As he mentioned, mixler.com/BSU SportsLink. But Jack, I mean, it's a great opportunity. We're less than a year removed from that shocking shot of Taylor Persons at Notre Dame for the basketball team. The Fighting Irish are ranked number 8 again. Could we be in store for another upset? There's potential.
Who knows? Deja vu could be in the works, and I know Ball State's motivated. Just talking to the running backs this week, James Gilbert, Caleb Huntley, they're fired up. The name Notre Dame does not scare them.
No, not at all. This is a confident football team, and with a great showing in the first week, and it's also pretty cool for them. I mean, they get to go and experience that, really, the top stage you can reach in collegiate Division I football. It's going to be an exciting weekend and a great opportunity for Ball State to really show themselves.
I think everybody's watched Rudy at some point. Not saying Ball State gets to live that out for real, but they're going to watch Rudy on the way up there, and they're going to have a great time up at Notre Dame Stadium, and hopefully come away with a win. But once again, SL Digital, we have more than just football. We'll have basketball later on this year. We have volleyball. We have field hockey. We have soccer going on right now. Just a great opportunity for all of our students to get involved. And there's opportunities everywhere for students to get involved in all majors throughout Ball State. Just an opportunity, or a university that prides itself on giving real-world experience to its students.
It's very unique. There's over 22,000 students at Ball State, and we're very blessed to have so many different majors and minors and opportunities for students. And then the 93% career placement rate. I mean, that's really impressive, and that was definitely for me a major selling point of coming to this university and why I wanted to be a Cardinal here at Ball State. And it's just full of great programs that anyone can find what they want to do.
That's exactly why I came here, too. This university boasts more real-world experience than any other that I could find. And it's convenient that it's an hour away from home. Just a great university for me and a great university for everyone over 100 years. We have one more look at the documentary before it premieres at 7:30. Take a look here.
New construction matched with renovations of older structures, modernizing them for the next century, including a renovation of West Quad and the Fine Arts Building, Schumann Stadium, and several residence halls.
The growth of the campus is so impressive to me, and I believe, and I don't want to diminish the input of others, but I believe President Gore was largely responsible for the physical change that it underwent and the much higher profile it has now than when I was a student. So you see this burgeoning center of education, and you can't help but want to be a part of it.
Improvements were made to landscaping throughout the campus, and the entire length of McKinley Avenue was modified in the first half of the decade. Arguably the biggest construction undertaking is the geothermal energy system.
When it was completed, it was the largest closed-loop geothermal project in the country. It enabled us to provide heating and cooling to more than 46 campus buildings. It enabled us to save $2 million annually in operating funds and to cut our carbon footprint in 1/2.
We are minutes away from the documentary premiere. We've been talking about it all night, and it's almost here. 7:30 p.m. is when it starts to roll, and then 9 p.m. the party starts as well. And that tease, you saw a lot of shots of campus. There's been a lot of changes over the years here to Ball State. We've even experienced some changes that will take place after we're gone.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the famed La Follette Residence Hall, part of it has been torn down. I mean, that's a hall that my mom stayed in 30 plus years ago. I mean, it's really incredible, not to mention just across the street, the new Health Professions building. It's amazing how we went away in the spring and came back in the fall, students, and it really had gone up and improved, and you can see kind of it taking shape. It's very cool and a lot of movement, as President Mearns was talking about, a lot of changes coming to campus, but they seem to all be positive in my eyes.
Yeah, a lot of the residence halls were getting a little bit old, so they've updated them. Both Johnson halls on the north side of campus updated now. Great facilities. A lot of the residence halls are moving to the north side of campus. That's where you see the construction, but in a few years, it's going to look fantastic.
And that's a commendation to President Mearns. I mean, he really came in with a plan, and we saw it very quickly. The whole changing of the brand and bringing in We Fly and then announcing these changes to really elevate the university. And Ball State really is, it's a university on the rise, both in the classroom, on the field, and as a student body.
Ball State's getting its name out there in the state of Indiana and across the entire nation. Great university celebrating 100 years tonight. We've talked about some of the new things on campus, Alex, but what's your favorite traditional spot? We've asked that all night. What's yours?
That's a tough one. I think Frog Baby is tough to beat. Just
Yeah,
if you catch Frog Baby at the right time in the evening, it really is. It's beautiful to look around, and really just campus takes shape in the fall, and some of the colors that come to campus. Really, I mean, it takes you to a new area. And it's one of fall to me in Indiana is what Indiana provides and what makes it unique. People say that out west is so hilly and they like the plains and that kind of thing, but here you get that color, that vibrant color, and it really elevates campus. What about you, though?
Well, I went out to the East Coast. I'll start with a little story.
Okay.
I went out to the East Coast a couple of summers ago to New York City, to Boston. Great cities, but it doesn't beat the Midwest. There is just a spacious feel to the Midwest and a homey feel that you just can't beat. And I find the same thing right here at Ball State. So, I mean, it's so hard to decide.
It really is.
Frog Baby is great. Beneficence is great. The Quad is great. Of course, the athletic facilities are fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Beneficence and the Quad. That area is just very peaceful to me. I don't have a ton of classes down there. I'm in the Letterman building a lot, but when I do find my way down there, I just like to soak it in. There's a lot of trees. There's a lot of green space. And I just like to take it all in and soak up the atmosphere that Ball State provides.
And that green space in the North Quad that you were talking about really elevates, but that is like kind of the main place for green space on campus, so that's one of the things President Mearns was talking about, and tearing down some of the parking garages to build no more green space. It's phenomenal. I mean, it really helps the students, and I think also I see the bell tower every day coming out of Letterman, so I think that's why the Quad might be a little bit more important too. It's just you're not there as much, so you get to soak in that beauty.
Absolutely. When you don't see it that much, you appreciate it that much more. Schaefer Tower, Bell Tower, that's always a staple of campus. I like to look at that a lot, just sort of stand under it and be like, wow, this is pretty big.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ball State's campus has really made a lot of advancements over the year. Let's take one last look at the history of Ball State. I mean, it started in the 1800s. That's hard to believe. 1899. It was a private school then, but then it goes public. Indiana State Normal School went through a couple of name changes. Even the mascot changed, Alex. They used to be called the Hoosier-Roons for their athletics mascot. They're now the Cardinals, but it's hard to believe that we've experienced so much change in 100 years.
Yeah, and we were in Coach New's office doing some interviews for Running Back Shoe, the new show from Ball State Sports Link, and he showed us a hat that said Ball State Hoosier-Roons. It said that a fan had given it to him. It was one of 10 in existence. And it was so cool, and it's just so unique how far this university has come in just 100 years.
Absolutely unbelievable. Everything that this university provides, this entire celebration, just so much fun to be a part of it. For Alex Thomas, I'm Jack Kaiser. I mean, it's been a fun one. What are your final thoughts before we send it over to Mick and Olivia?
It's been exciting. This is a great celebration. Excited to be here. A beautiful documentary we're excited to see. And hopefully a lively party later tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a big party here tonight. Lots going on. We take one last look at the schedule. Documentary premiere, street parties starting at night. It's been a fun one, but for now, we send it in to Mick and Olivia to wrap it up from inside Emmons Auditorium.